Good afternoon, my LinkedIn family. Hamas Siddiqui with you again. And this is a very special show. This is a very special live because today we are not going to talk much about LinkedIn. We will talk about our health, how important our health is. And we always find excuses for staying unhealthy, if I may put it this way. So we try to eat things which we should not really be eating, and on top of it, we don't exercise. So today I have a fantastic friend of mine, Herb, joining in. Herb is a performance coach and a mental wellness coach. He's a certified guy. He's a strong guy uh, from the US. And without any further ado, I just bring Herb to the stream.
Hmm?
Hey Herb, how are
Yeah.
you?
Good morning or good afternoon to you,
All
Hamad.
right, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So as I introduce you, very briefly, you are a performance coach,
Mhm.
and you help people improve their performance, health,
Right.
physical performance, and that also works around improving their mental performance
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
some extent. Some other things that you do are also fascinating, with
Yeah.
big barrels, lifting big barrels, and walking around and doing all sorts of crazy stuff, quote
Those
unquote.
crazy things. Yeah.
Yes.
I think the craziest was doing a 12-hour, all night long, what do you call it? Immersion
All right.
with a group of Navy SEALs
Yeah.
in the desert in California, freezing cold.
All right.
Yeah. I think that was on the crazy edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. So, I mean, I met her over LinkedIn. So we started talking around LinkedIn, and that's why I am extremely fascinated by the power of this social network, beyond imagination, and the inspiration you get from the people who are out there, the professionals like her, is just phenomenal. And this is what I do when I coach on how do you use LinkedIn, how do you optimize your profile, and what are some of the effective ways to connect with people. And
Right.
this is just one example, right? And there are many examples in my life, in Herb's life, that how do we connect with people? How do we learn from each other? And how do we collaborate? I mean, at the end of the day, we all have to make some money also to put food on the table.
Mhm.
And
Right.
these collaborations can be turned into something very exciting. So those of you who have joined in, please share where are you joining in from, and I'll be happy to share your profile, your comment online. So you can simply put in the comment, name I will see, where are you joining in from, and if you have any question from an expert, you can ask questions. And so my first question, Herb, before anybody jumps in, is
Mhm.
that we have all sorts of arguments if we really don't want to exercise. Exercise is a very difficult thing to do for many people. And the biggest argument that I hear here is that I don't have time.
Right.
This is an argument. Uh, but tell us, if we stick to this argument and if we do not exercise, how does it impact our professional performance? Let me put it this way: how does it impact our professional performance if we are not in shape, if we are not healthy enough?
Okay. So classically, there's 2 points I would bring up. Number one, there is a very good book written by a medical doctor, Dr. John Ratty, and I believe it's called Spark.
Mhm.
Okay, and it's the first book that correlates the research between exercise and test scores. Okay, and what they did, they tracked kids from like middle school to high school, and the students that exercised before school or before an exam all did better. Um, and then you go into the physiology. Exercise actually gets your body to stimulate the growth of new brain cells
Mhm.
called BDNF. Okay, brain-derived neurofactors. Okay, if you really want to go look it up.
Yeah.
Okay, So there's a lot of good research about what exercise does to stimulate your brain. So if you want to actually do better in your job, a little bit of exercise is actually going to make your brain work better. So people think of exercise as just building your muscles,
Hmm.
right? Or maybe losing a couple pounds. But from the research point, it does a lot to keep your brain healthy, which for those of you who are over 50, um, cutting down the road, down the big thing in the Western states is like what Alzheimer's, dementia, and exercise does a lot to slow down that progression as well. So
Great.
that's a short answer.
Yeah. So I think one the argument that we anybody like in the family and the friends who really want to avoid exercise, to
Yeah.
some extent. Like, we have Akas joining in from Dubai. So now you have like 50 degrees Celsius outside
Right.
temperature and you train a lot, you sweat a lot. He's an
Mhm.
engineer, by the way. He's in my class, which is like the first batch. He's kind of learning LinkedIn. He's on the early curve on LinkedIn. So for people like him, what do you suggest? Like, there is always an excuse about time, about weather. Uh, what is one thing we should do to encourage us to go out and do exercise?
Okay. I would, yeah, the weather part, you're in Canada.
Yes.
You can have zero and you have to go walk. Your other friends in Dubai and it's, 50 degrees. Um, right?
He,
And in the desert, you don't sweat. I
right.
went running for 2 hours on Saturday in the desert, and my shirt came back completely dry.
Yes.
Looked like I never went anywhere. So, and I've learned to exercise in hotel rooms and hostels. Um, so that whole thing of the weather, too hot, it's too cold, it's too rainy, it's too dark, it's too sunny. You can always find an excuse if you want one. But here's what saves it. To answer your question, Hamad,
Hmm.
if you have a why do I want to exercise? The same thing when you went to school. Why do you want to go to school? Why am I going to put up with all these professors? Why am I going to put up with being poor for 4 years while I get my, bachelor's? Why am I going to do it? And usually you have a good reason why, correct? So if you have a good why, the weather doesn't matter, the lack of equipment doesn't matter, all the things doesn't matter. But if you can't find a good reason why, other than, well, I should, that's not going to get you very far. So,
That's right. So I think it's the determination part, and this is purely your mindset. If you're
all right,
determined to
correct,
do something, you will do it, and if you're not determined to do something, you will lose it. As
correct.
simple as that. So we have Bobby Singh joining in from Toronto. Bobby,
Okay.
Bobby's a recent friend, by the way, and Bobby and I have certain things in common. He is a big, advocate for business reforms and bringing more and more businesses up live and
Mhm.
visible minorities and all that. So thank you, Bobby, for joining in. And Bobby says there's an optimal balance between weight training and cardiovascular activity to maximize benefit to
Mhm.
cognitive performance. What do you say on that?
That the body performance will it does maximize your cognitive performance. It's true. And I think as we were talking about Dr. Ratty's book about maximizing your brain potential. And there's also another good book for everybody out there called Younger Next Year. Okay, and I used to give it away to my clients and explain it's the easiest to read medical book about what exercise does to your body.
Hmm.
Um, and think about two things. If your body's in shape, I can sit at my computer longer,
Hmm.
right? Without going, oh, I'm so tired. I have to go take a nap, right? You have that vitality. If you're doing business in the real world, you walk into a room with confidence, you feel better. There's a lot of good reasons why. For you, we talked about for people with sitting a long time tend to have back and neck issues. And something simple as walking helps to fix it up.
Yeah, and I do walk every day. In Canada, it can be as low as -20 at times. This time around, we didn't have severe winters, but Bobby can endorse this also. Last year, we had spells of like -20, 25. Um, but I would always go out for a walk. Pack
Mhm.
just wrap up myself and just go out for a walk, and it
Sure.
really helps because I have back and neck issue. If I don't walk, if I don't keep myself like mobilized, I'm
Right?
stuck. And one other thing that I did, that kind of motivational factor, as I call it, to build a community around you, and that
Hmm.
really helps. So instead of just one person walking with your headphone on, if you have two, three people working together and actually talking rather than listening to something only,
Right.
like I'm not a big fan of wearing your gear and walking, because I feel that I somehow get disconnected with the real world around me
Mhm.
if I've got my ear
Right?
blocked, whatever.
Right.
So we walk. So three of us walk, regardless if it's raining or if it's like snowstorm. That's fine. That's not an excuse, but that's the reality. There is certain weather condition in which you don't go out for walk, or if it's extremely windy, like sometimes you have like 100 miles wind, you don't go out for walk on that day. But that's just maybe 1 or 2 days, right?
Right.
Rest of it, I go for walk, and that one walk of about 5 kilometers every evening
Mhm.
really regenerate me. It really gives me a lot of energy. It changes my mind, and I'm like more open to thinking. And when I come back, I'm again working, which means I usually do it in the evening. But when I come back, I'm so energized that I have to work again. So I
Right.
turn on my computer, because I've got clients like from the east and the west of the
Right.
globe. Some of the clients get up when it's time for us to go to sleep. So responding to them. So it really energizes us. But what are some of the things that you would suggest for people to do, kind of keep them mobilized?
Mhm.
What should be the starting point for those who are just still struggling to do it on a more regular basis? Like very basic things that people could actually look at and experiment with.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get backtrack. You brought up one excellent point there.
Hmm.
Okay. And when you said instead of going out by yourself, you went out walking with two or three other friends.
Yeah.
Um, we would call that in the field they call that a swim buddy,
All right.
right? And whatever the other parts of the country would call that an accountability partner.
Mhm.
And you know that you will lie to yourself and you'll tell yourself, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll get it done later. But you will not call up your friends and tell them you don't feel like it. Correct? So a lot of times having that group, that social group, holds you more accountable. And number two, you get that social benefit out of it. And years ago, when I had a real gym, a brick and mortar, I had people that were coming to the classes, I would say 90% just for the social.
Mhm.
Your friends were there, you got to talk, what's going on, what you doing in your life, how's your job, how's the kids. And then the exercise was kind of secondary to the whole process. Um, so that I think if you can rig up an accountability partner or a group to go walking with, go swimming, go something, um, that would be perfect. Um, yeah, that's huge. That's a big step on making sure that you carry through with the whole process. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, yeah, something as simple as walking is a good start. And then after that, you can build in different types of exercises to, make it a little more vigorous, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there could be, I mean, there are tons of sessions available on YouTube as to you can do this and
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
I personally felt is that either you keep it simple or you have an instructor based model, because you must not hurt yourself. Again, how
Correct.
rigorous do you want to go? If you have an instructor, then the instructor would know as to how much that person can stretch at a particular time.
Right.
So that's where people like you come into play, where you can assess someone and guide them as to what they should really be doing. So what is that assessment process, Herb? If you share that with me.
So you're correct. I like to use the example with my clients of you could go buy a piano and learn to play, or you could go hire a piano instructor and make much more progress. But
Yeah.
yeah, so instead of going to YouTube and picking out a bunch of exercises, bring in somebody who knows what they're doing. And for say like your back,
Hmm.
right? Before you would start exercising, my approach would be figure out why your back bothers you. Let's get that all fixed up first, and then start an exercise program.
Yeah.
And for each person, there's a little different whether they've got a back or a bad shoulder or bad knees or something. We're all individuals. And so once you can figure out how to what I call it, tune up that person, then you start an exercise program to do exactly what they want to accomplish. So
Yeah.
you might want to just walk more. Some people want to build muscles. Women need to worry about bone density.
Hmm.
Any women over 40, that's a big issue.
Hmm.
So that's important.
Great, great. So there's a question from Bobby, and it's a long one.
Oh my gosh, look at
Yeah.
that.
So the actual question is, what advice can be provided to those whomever no choice but to sit for extended period of times to meet employer obligations?
Hmm. Right? I saw that. What a big question there. So there's 2 points. Yeah, extreme climates. I agree. And I've done both. I've run in, I guess I would call it almost 0 degrees centigrade outside to, the desert. Um, where you take a little precautions with each condition, like you bundle up, right? In the desert, like say Dubai, you obviously want more water, more shade,
Mhm.
different types of clothing, but it is possible. And for the part about the pandemic, uh, there's lots of research about exercise and mental health and exercise for anxiety and depression. Um, and it's amazing what it does to change a person's anxiety, depression level. Um, so yeah, if you've been cooped up indoors all day long with lockdowns, and I think almost every country allows a small bit of outside, even in Europe.
Yes.
And I go running with my mask on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just look at it as I got two options. It's called, framing. I could look at it as, oh, I got this mask on, how terrible it's making life, miserable. Or I could look at it, oh, it's just good training. Now when I go for a run without the mask, I'll be so much better.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
And for those people, like in Bobby's question, those who sit for a long period of time, I think
oh,
taking a break is really important. So
mhm,
I knew someone who had a severe back problem, and
mhm,
an elderly person, like senior person, who was chairman of a like very large group of companies. He had like the roll that you put underneath your back when you do the back exercise, the bridging and stuff, and he had that in his room. So after every hour, he would take
mhm,
5 minutes break, and he would
mhm.
do his exercise. So even in the
Correct.
meetings, in between the meetings, he would say, "Okay, I need a 5 minutes break," and he would do the exercise and come back.
Correct. Good
Because
idea.
he knew if he doesn't do the exercise, he can't sit for that long.
Right.
And I think employer obligation, like I've worked 35 years. That's fine, but there has to be an understanding, and no employer would want
Mhm,
unhealthy people, right? They want healthy people so that they could get performance out of them, right?
mhm. Right.
So if I mean, like I cannot like sit for 5 hours and
Mhm.
just concentrate because I won't be able to concentrate.
Right,
I need a break to be able to come back and and concentrate on things.
right.
So yeah, please go ahead.
So I got 2 points,
Yeah.
what you were just talking about. Number one, there's a lot of people I know who have learned to put their laptops up on a treadmill,
Hmm.
and then they walk at a really slow pace and they can carry on. There's a couple different types of, I'm sure you've seen of the desks and tables that go up
Yes.
and down.
Yes.
Um, I have friends at the university that the university actually pays for them to get the desk,
Yeah.
because it's considered a work. It's better to buy the desk than to pay for work comp for a bad back or a bad neck.
Yeah.
And it keeps the person much more productive because they're not, as you say, sitting for 5 hours straight.
Yeah.
Um, and number two, you were talking about productivity. There was a really good program on, there's that website called Coursera,
Yes. Yes.
and they had that most famous course. They had Learning How to Learn.
Hmm.
Um, and she talked about working in 15-minute segments because your brain kind of slows down. And then you realize, why do at the university you have classes that are like 2 hours long or seminars,
Hmm.
right? And you just kind of
Yeah.
shut down. But taking that break every half hour allows your brain to refresh. You get new ideas, you get new oxygen. And I've even made videos for a couple of my clients how to exercise, why to sit in their chair. Simple. So you can
Yeah.
sit in your chair and still get your daily exercise in. So it is possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, good idea to set a little timer and step away from that computer even just for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that break really helps. Be it like 5 minutes or 10 minutes break,
All
uh, and it really uh, kind of revitalizes us and
right.
mentally, physically, eyes, ears, everything. It's almost like
Right.
zapping us coming back to life. We have another question from. I think this is more like a common sense to me. I'm not a performance coach, but
Okay.
I would think like walk is a great exercise. I really
Mhm.
enjoy walking, and it does not really require any extra gear. What you have to have is just a comfortable pair of shoes, walking shoes. If you
Mhm.
are in a warm weather, like keep yourself airy. If you're in a very cold weather, put warm clothes up.
All right.
Your ears and head cover, and that's basically it. So
Right.
my vote is always for walk
Mhm.
in fresh air, like open environment. And if I don't have that option, then maybe a gym, like
Mhm.
any lifestyle gym where you can join in. And the
Mhm.
third one, which I usually don't do, is swimming. Swimming is really a great exercise. Again, uh, you don't. It's a fun exercise if I put it this way. You
Right.
jump in water, you like it.
Mhm. Mhm. Right. So yeah, walking is number one, uh, but there are also plenty of what we just call body weight exercises. I
Yes,
think in the old days they call them calisthenics.
yes,
Because as you get older, you definitely need to keep building muscle for the same things like bone density, being able to live at home independently, stop your risk for falling, weight management. Um, and I think walking is part of the program, and the calisthenics are the other half of the program. Um, of course, along with watching what you eat as well. Um,
yeah,
but you could join. There's plenty of things out there like what do you call it? Football,
yeah,
or I don't know. You can't do it over here in Canada. Cricket.
yeah,
Did you grow up playing cricket?
yeah. We all
Yeah.
do. All South Asians play cricket, right? Good or bad.
Right.
Hockey, field hockey, and cricket. These are the two games that we all almost everybody plays.
Yeah. And badminton is actually a very
Very good.
vigorous. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. I think you probably get more exercise playing badminton than you do cricket.
yes. So cricket
unless
is
you're the
slow,
yeah.
slow paced game. I mean, now with
Hmm.
the different type of cricket, it's no longer a slow paced game, but
Right.
as compared to badminton and table tennis or
Hmm.
field hockey, it actually is a slow game. But again, we all play cricket.
Right. And
So
those are good examples. You get some exercise, you get some social in there, and it doesn't cost a whole lot of money either. No.
nothing. I mean, for cricket, what you need is just a bat and a ball. That's about it.
Yeah.
And once you have it, then you can use it for a year. It won't go
Yeah.
bad in a year's time even.
Right.
No, this is great. So it's all about like motivating yourself to do something for yourself. I sell LinkedIn coaching and LinkedIn profile
Mhm.
optimization. Some people come to me and they need it, right? They
Right.
desperately need it, but they are reluctant in like taking out money to do it.
Hmm.
And for them, the option is very simple. You go and look for resources. There are tons of free resources.
Right.
My session, my posts are full of coaching. Pick it
Hmm.
up and do it slowly, and it will take you a year maybe, and maybe you do it the right way, or maybe you just
Hmm.
experimenting with it, or you have a coach who would work with you to fix it, and the
Correct.
time required to do that is much shorter, right?
Hmm.
And you will have the results much faster as compared
Correct.
to, trial and error process or A/B testing process, which can take much longer.
Right.
Uh, but same thing with the with exercise. To me, is that if we if we eat properly,
Hmm.
and now that we have resources available, we can. I mean, it's like you need to know exactly what helps, what does not help.
Right.
And so for me, fried item and stuff, even occasionally, does not really help me because
Right.
I don't have a gallbladder. So if I eat something like that, then I would suffer. So I would rather not eat it uh,
Right.
and have something like a lot of liquids and
Hmm.
sugar is something that I stopped taking when I was very young.
Right.
And again, in a story. So I had a tendency of putting on weight.
Right.
And I was very young, and I had a British doctor who I used to consult, and I said, Dr. Ricky was his name, Dr. Ricky. Um, I mean, how do I deal with this weight problem? I was like 28 or 29 years of age. I would play cricket, play hockey, but I was
Right.
still on weight. And said, two things: South Asians, you take sugar in your tea. Number two, you eat curry with a lot of oil in it. These are
Right.
two. So you have to do away with these two things, and it will take care of you. You're young, your metabolism will kick in. Okay, so I could not really control not eating, or I could not really stop eating curry because that's all you have to eat, like with bread, with
Right.
naan. But what I could do is to stop taking sugar,
Hmm.
and I stopped taking sugar. Like even at my home, we hardly buy pops. There is no soft drink available.
Right.
There's no packet juice available in the fridge. No Coke, nothing.
Right.
So it's not us, the adults, but the kids also have no habit. My elder daughter, she's in the university. She has never tasted a pop in her life. I mean,
Wow. Okay.
so I mean, that's a very unique situation. My younger one will have it when she gets a Coke. But she's
Hmm.
not also addicted. So controlling my own sugar intake really helped me reduce almost 10 kilograms, okay, over a period of time. But losing 10 kilogram was like a fun thing for me. I was fitting into my 33, 34 size trouser, which was 40 size before, and
Right.
reducing 6 inch from your belly
Right.
is a fun experience. I mean, I can tell you that. And I still keep it like this. So I don't take any sugar. I try to eat like reasonably balanced diet. I won't say
Hmm.
that it's 100% balanced, but I walk, and that really keeps me going. So I've been up since morning. Okay, I did not do exercise still, but I walked. took a break. I ran a session with my class for an hour and a half. I'm doing chat with you. There's something else coming up at 2:30. So I'll be
Right.
busy until 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, pack up, take half an hour rest. In fact, I just knock myself out for half an hour.
Right.
That's the time that I really want to kind of bring my energies together. And all that is possible if we plan for it.
Correct. Correct. Right. That's a huge part of it.
Yeah,
That brings up the other thing about my clients talk about changing the diet. Um, and part of that is planning when you go to the grocery store that you have healthy food at home to eat. Otherwise, you say, "Oh, I don't have anything to eat. Let me just stop at the whatever, at the someplace at the fast food place. What do you call it up there? Takeaway,
yeah,
and get something. And then the next day, you get some more takeaway. And pretty soon, you're eating lots of takeout meals, which are not the most healthy. Um, yeah. So, but a little bit of planning makes a huge difference. And your story about giving up the soda pop,
yeah,
it's huge. I've had clients that lose, same thing, 4 or 5 kilos for something so simple as just giving up soda pop.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to go, go live in a cave in the mountains to lose weight. You just
No,
do little tiny changes. Yeah.
no. And
Yeah.
staying healthy probably is, and this was something that when I was very young. Since then, the only thing that I had in my mind, okay, everybody dies. I will die also one day, but I do not want to suffer and die.
Correct.
I want to
Correct.
really work towards a healthy life until I am alive.
Hmm.
You know,
Right.
we may still, I don't know what will happen to me,
Hmm.
in the years to come. But for my age group in South Asian community,
Hmm.
I'm still, I think, very active. A lot of
Right.
South Asians, they eat the things that are
Hmm.
not good, either too much carbs in it or too much protein in it. There's hard
Right.
to balance, and sugar is part of our life,
Hmm.
which actually makes them pretty unhealthy at a very early age. So for me, my only passion throughout for my life was that I want to stay healthy, and
Correct.
this passion keeps me going. And this is what the message I think I would send out to everybody who's going to watch it later on. Also, is
Hmm.
that if you aim to be healthy, you will be successful, and
Hmm.
then that success will be multidimensional.
Hmm. You're right. Yeah. Good point. So I agree with you. I've had clients in their late 70s, early 80s that were still out there being able to
Yeah.
run a 5K race. Um, so it is possible. And people say, "Oh, I'm too old. Oh, I can't do that anymore." I think that's just a bunch of rubbish.
No.
Um, and I agree with you that it's sad when I watch what I would call younger people in their 20s and 30s struggling just to like walk through the grocery store.
Yeah.
Because they're just too out of shape.
Yes.
Or what really bugs me being a parent is going to the playground and watching parents who are unable to play with their children because they're too obese. Um, And to me, that's kind of like, that starts to cut in on your ability to be a good parent if you can't go and do things with your children.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
All right. So I think the takeaway for me with this conversation is that if and I've experimented it myself. I don't run 10 kilometers or whatever,
hmm,
but I'm consistent. So you have to be consistent, and you have to
hmm,
have a plan.
yeah, yeah,
Your
man.
why, as you rightly said, and implement that why. I mean, implement that plan around that why,
Hmm.
and you will enjoy it. So enjoy what you're doing,
Right.
which actually brings in success, and you will have better performance.
Hmm.
And performance again and success is has very vast, big meanings.
Mhm.
So you can put in everything what you want to put in. Uh, but I think the biggest success for yourself is to keep yourself healthy,
Mhm.
motivated, and engaged with life. If you disengage with life, people can have
Right.
medical conditions, and ask those people who have medical conditions as to what they are suffering with.
Right.
So with that, Herb, thanks for sparing time. I had
Are you
to
welcome?
change
Yeah.
the time a little bit because I have something else coming up at 2:30.
Okay.
But it's really great because we talk about so much, but
Mhm.
not many people talk about your own health, how important
Mhm.
it is to stay
Yeah.
healthy and stay active and be successful. So thanks for your time. Any last word that you want to share with
Two. Can I
yes,
have two words?
please go ahead.
One, if any of your listeners want to contact me for some free advice, let me know and I'll be glad to talk to whoever. And the second thing, I think you brought it up, is that initially you probably won't get much satisfaction when you start a new exercise program. It'll be all, you have to do a lot of willpower. But eventually, like for you, you agree, you start to look forward to your walk. You see the benefits, how you feel, and how you think. And eventually, the exercise programs become self rewarding. It takes a little work at the beginning,
Yes.
but eventually, it does reach that point where it does become rewarding.
And this is so nice, thanks for that. And I always say to people, when if you aim to run 100-meter sprint, you don't start 100-meter sprint on your first day.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
always a process to adopt. And as our famous speaker Tony Robbins says, if you want to change the output, you have to change the input and the process. So once you
Correct.
change the input and the process, the output will be different. So hopefully, some of us, people who will watch this or have been watching or will watch this later on, will get some inspiration and do something. And please contact Herb. He's a fantastic fellow. We became friends only after one long conversation that we
Mhm.
had together, and he will definitely be able to guide you if he can't become your coach because
Mhm.
of distance or whatever. He will be able to give you some insight to how do you move on. So thank you very much for signing in and watching this session, and thanks her for being with us. Just stay at the backstage while I'll just uh, end the broadcast. So thank you very much, everybody. Amas Siddiqui signing off with a big thanks to my friend Herb from the USA. He is a performance coach and a mental wellness coach. Connect with him if you have any concern, if you really want to move on and do a lot in your life. With that, bye bye.